The Tampa Bay Lightning are inarguably the NHL's most talented and deep team. Their stacked roster features at least one superstar at every position, as well as a stable of reliable role players. They're built to win, and it all came together perfectly in last year's bubbled postseason when Tampa claimed its second Stanley Cup in franchise history. In 2021, the vibe surrounding the team is a little different. While the Lightning are once again in the Cup final, this time facing the upstart Montreal Canadiens, they can't seem to shake one particular storyline. It's a storyline that revolves around a four-word question. Are the Lightning cheaters? I know, that's a loaded accusation, so let's discuss. Sit back, relax, and take this in. First, the facts of the matter. Lightning forward Nikita Kucherov, a former league MVP who's arguably a top 5 player on the planet, was sidelined for the entire regular season to recover from hip surgery. There was no official timetable given for his return to Tampa's lineup at the time of the surgery. The team only said it was hopeful he'd be available for the playoffs. Kucherov makes $9.5 million a year, but not a single cent of his salary counted towards the cap because he was on long-term injured reserve this whole year. This allowed a cap-strapped team like the Lightning to stay under the $81.5 million upper limit while keeping the vast majority of its championship roster intact. Heck, Tampa even acquired depth defenseman David Savard and half of his cap hit prior to the March trade deadline. The kicker is that there's no salary cap in the NHL playoffs, so hypothetically, Kucherov could collect dust all year and then be activated for opening night of the postseason, and technically, the Lightning wouldn't be doing anything wrong. Well, that's exactly how it unfolded, with Kucherov making his 2020-2021 debut in Game 1 of the Lightning series against the Florida Panthers. A month earlier, eyebrows were raised when Kucherov started skating with his teammates. He eventually appeared healthy enough to suit up for at least one regular season game, but ultimately didn't. And that's where things get dicey. Kucherov magically being ready to roll for the playoffs irked fans across the league, and it was hard to blame the skeptics. There's no denying the optics weren't great. I mean, come on, the timing is a little too on the nose, right?
The conspiracy continues.
Kucherov's incredible postseason has poured gasoline into the fire. He's been unreal after sitting on the sidelines for months, accumulating 27 points, including 22 assists in only 18 games. He's leading the playoffs in scoring despite missing the bulk of Game 6 in the semifinal due to another injury. Among Lightning skaters, he's the front-runner for the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is handed out to the playoff MVP. Carolina Hurricanes defenseman Dougie Hamilton pointed to the Kucherov situation after his team was eliminated by the Lightning in the second round.
We had a great season. We lost to a team that's 18 million over the cap or whatever they are, and unbelievable goalie and all that stuff. I thought we played them pretty close. A couple of those games could have went either way. And
so on the surface, there's credibility to the cheater label. It definitely looks as if the Lightning management, the coaching staff, trainers, doctors, and Kucherov himself were all in on a devious plan to have the dazzling winger return at the absolute perfect time. However, when you dig a little deeper on the subject, it becomes less suspicious. For starters, the idea that the Lightning would prefer not to have Kucherov in their lineup for the entire regular season in order to save cap space is a wild assertion. Tampa may be stacked, but being without a guy who trails only Connor McDavid in points per game since 2016-2017 isn't a benefit or some big prize. It actually just sucks. In an interview with the Score's John Mattis a few days before the season opened, Lightning head coach John Cooper said losing a player of Kucherov's caliber was a kick in the teeth for him in the club. Cooper might have been understating it too, given the weirdness of the regular season, which included 56 games against only teams in your own division, creating doubt for everyone. Tampa wasn't guaranteed a playoff spot. Now, you might be wondering where the NHL's head office factors into all of this. According to multiple reports, the league investigated the Lightning's handling of Kucherov's injury and found no wrongdoing. Cap circumvention came up at the recent GM's meeting, but if loopholes are going to be closed, it's not happening anytime soon. In other words, don't hate the player, hate the game. That's essentially Kucherov's response to the questions about the fishy situation. He's noted to the press that he doesn't make the cap rules, that he got hurt, underwent surgery, and endured 5 months of rehab, and when he was ready to play, he played.
I don't make the rules.
Kucherov's perspective really cuts to the heart of the matter. There's a weird gray area between a hockey player being 100% and a player being healthy enough to play. We hear all the time about NHLers fighting through injury in the playoffs. Perhaps Kucherov was healthy enough to play down the stretch of the regular season, but not 100%. And if someone isn't 100%, well, you can't exactly force them into the game. Plus, let's not forget the stunt the 2015 Chicago Blackhawks pulled with Patrick Kane. The star forward broke his collarbone, was put on a timeline that had him returning midway through the playoffs, and then magically healed for game 1 of the first round. In the meantime, the Blackhawks acquired key depth pieces at the deadline. So there's precedent to what happened this season with Kucherov and the Lightning. Oh, and guess who the Hawks beat in the 2015 Cup final? Kucherov and the Lightning. Anyway, even though this controversy is more of a league issue than a Lightning issue, Tampa's been on the receiving end of considerable criticism. Did the Lightning manipulate the cap? Circumvent it? Maybe, but it's all above board according to the NHL. It's deemed legal. Ironically, the Lightning were good enough last year to win the Cup without Steven Stamkos regularly in the lineup. The injured sniper was available for just 2 minutes and 47 seconds all playoffs. Maybe they could have made the Cup final this year without Kucherov. At any rate, Tampa GM Julien Brisebois recently stated the obvious when he said things couldn't have unfolded better for his club. Sometimes, Brisebois added, the stars just aligned for you.